Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a proud Kamilaroi woman studying a second year of the Bachelor of Laws and Business.
Hi, I'm Tessa. I'm currently an Indigenous officer at RUSU and I'm also in my second year of Regional and Urban Planning.
I'm Zara. I'm in my second year of a Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing, and I am Chirul Waymob from Tasmania.
Hi, my name is Tobias Edward Wood-Bowers. Feel free to know me as Toby for short. I'm currently studying the Advanced Diploma of Screen and Media, Content Creation and Design. And my mub is Parademi, which is through family connection.
Hi, my name is Vincent Walter. I'm a PhD student here at RMIT. I started this year, and I also happen to be Pala, which is from Lutruwita, which is Tasmanian Aboriginal, from the northeast corner.
We're currently filming this video for NAIDOC week and we are just wanting to have a video to show everyone what the Indigenous students at RMIT are doing, and especially for the theme this year, what our legacy is and especially whose legacies have inspired us.
What legacy do you hope to leave in your future industry as a First Nations person?
Papers. So one of the things that my supervisors brought up a lot going into this was that they hoped I would come out with at least one, hopefully a couple of papers. For instance, the thing on the screen right there is a chemical by the name of resveratrol. Some of the work I'm planning to do with it apparently has never been put into a paper, so my supervisor's like, yeah, do it! So that's what I'm going for.
So as an urban planner, this question is really important to me, what I want my legacy to be. I feel like right now in especially urban cities like Melbourne, it's very hard for Indigenous people to really see themselves in this environment. So I really want my legacy to be really changing how cities are designed to where it could be designed with Indigenous perspectives, planning with country in mind, and just kind of changing the space to where we can walk around the city and be like, this is our country. Like, I can see it, I can feel it. Because right now I feel like a lot of students really do feel disconnected in the city and we kind of have to be here to study. And the only escape and connection we can have is when we go back home. And I think it'd be so valuable to have Indigenous students to be able to really have that connection here.
The legacy I hope to leave in my industry is I hope to make more space for Indigenous people in creative writing. I think it's an incredibly white industry. It's an incredibly white space, and we're often featured tokenistically. I want us to occupy all the spaces that we can instead of just being stuck in the margins. I think we have a lot to offer the space. We have such an important cultural connection to storytelling. And we have stories to tell. We have so many stories to tell, both historical and fictional, and we bring value to this space.
If I tried to answer this the best way I possibly could, it would be to teach some of the fellow young people who are struggling out in the community to learn some of the skills that I have, for an example, like animation and whatnot, because let's face it, the animation industry is quite small in Australia and there's not a lot heard about it, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer for me. I also, while I'm teaching these people these skills, I want to also provide advocacy, because there's a lot of some injustices that goes on in the system, and with my community services background as well as my animation background, I want to try to combine those two elements together. And I guess my legacy at the end of the day is I just want to try to be known as somebody who can try to give people smiles despite the most difficult animosity or challenges that they face.
In my future industry as hopefully law, I hope to make a big difference in native title and representation particularly, and working on treaties to ensure that Aboriginal people have land rights for the culture, the community and the country that they've had for a long time that's often gone unrecognised and yeah. How has your identity shaped the path you've chosen to walk through university and beyond?
Yeah, so I feel like I have a very unique experience. So I definitely came out of high school being very disconnected from my identity as a Black woman, especially being in like a system where it is very culturally unsafe to be Black, and universities definitely really shaped those experiences, and it's definitely like shaped me becoming a leader, really becoming comfortable with my identity. Yeah, so I feel like my identity, especially as a Black woman's really shaped urban planning with what I do. I'm one of the only, I think there might be 3 Indigenous urban planners in all of RMIT. I could be wrong. But because of that, I definitely feel like sometimes there are pressures on me and a bit of a cultural load to bring my knowledge as an Indigenous person and that legacy of my family legacy into this field. So especially being part of RUSU and other initiatives, I'm really trying my best to create a legacy at university that does create safe spaces for Indigenous students to really thrive in.
I pursued media and communications because I wanted a semblance of normalcy. I wanted to maintain, the normal kind of labor that my parents did and their parents before them. And it just wasn't for me, so I switched to creative writing, and that has been incredibly healing, and it's truly what I want to do. And I think that's so important for Indigenous people, because often we feel inclined to do what will be best for us in the long run and not best for who we are creatively.
Well, this isn't my first rodeo at university. I would definitely call myself a mature age student. So I went through, I followed my passion, which was science, chemistry, and I found my element definitely in my Indigenous culture, but there are certainly some people who are more, I'm going to say, defined by the Indigenous culture, who are more willing to give to the community, more engaged. Whereas me, I find it's a part of me, but it's not as dominant as it is for some others.
When I first came here at RMIT, I didn't really exactly know myself, and I came to the Ngarara Willim Centre first because, let's face it, the Ngarara Willim Centre is the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander community. I mean, from my past experiences, they've been usually great. As I came to this university and as I learned, I guess, more and more about who I wanted to be over here, my identity grew from that point. I guess my identity that I'm trying to leave behind is trying to be not just only a good person, but a person who exemplifies a level of leadership silently, that it doesn't come in the form that it seems a little bit too oppressive and whatnot, but more so to be more fair, to show some level of democracy and to be able to listen to everyone to the best of my ability.
I think university has really shaped me as well. So coming in from high school as a First Nations person wasn't the easiest experience to go through, but as I've gone and come into university, connecting with country and mob and finding out a bit more of who I am in slow pieces has been such a rewarding and amazing experience to go through. And the journey is still ongoing, and learning more about country and culture is something that's really important to me as a person as well. What advice would you give to other mob thinking about starting or continuing in your field of study?
My biggest advice to other mob is urban planning is such a niche course. Like, I did not know about it until I was probably in my final year of studying. But I do want to say it is such a valuable thing right now for Black planners to be in this industry. Like, I can't stress that enough. I really also want them to know that there are other pathways with urban planning to get into without a degree, but RMIT, like urban planning, definitely really does set out the pathway to be a really strong Black planner. But no, my biggest advice would be use the support from the Indigenous centres, and also the support of your community. Like, my biggest support system is the students here. Like, if I'm feeling down, I have a yarn. I'm really able to, I'm a community person. Like, it's so important being here. And I just think the biggest thing for Indigenous students is to really establish that Black community within university, or you do feel a bit isolated. And right now, being around people, I feel really connected, and I feel very like a lot of strength right now.
I would implore Mob to pursue creative writing. It is predominantly white. It is also predominantly ignorant, despite how progressive it may seem.
So for me, I did an undergraduate, and then I did honours, and then I thought that's enough. And then I went out looking for a job. And then I went and did masters, and I thought that's enough. And then I went and looked for a job and did one for 6 years. And then I'm back here again doing a PhD. So I think it's never too late to start. I encourage you to take the leap and do it. If you believe you can do a PhD and you want a career with something a PhD can give you, go for it. One of the reasons I was reluctant at first to do a PhD is it limits your job options. It certainly creates job options, but it limits it too. If you go down to your local KFC joint and say, yeah, I've got a PhD, can you hire me? They're probably going to say no, you're too overqualified. And it's same for further up you go too. So by doing a PhD, you're signing on to becoming an academic in some sense, be it in industry, be it at a university, be it at your own startup, if you've found some cool technology that you've invented. So if that's what you want to do, go for it, but be prepared, there are risks.
First and foremost, if you want to be in this industry, be sure to enjoy it, because enjoying the course that you're doing is very important. I mean, especially when the work is tedious. If you don't enjoy it, then it's like one of the industry professionals I met over at RMIT at some point, Alyssa Smidley, would say, why would you be doing it? So it just comes down to patience, trying to have that attitude, that energy to drive you through, and more importantly, just to remain persistent. Don't give up. Keep trying to develop your art skills. Even if they're not the most greatest, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you grow with your art skills.
Advice I'd give to mob studying law and or business is network, find those connections, find your people, and that'll really help you in life as well. And just be loud, like take up space, don't be afraid to take opportunities. It doesn't matter who you are, what you study, just say yes as much as you can and take up space as an Indigenous person, take advantage of every program, every opportunity, every internship. Who's someone in your life or community whose legacy inspires you and why?
I come from such a strong Black woman family, and it's so hard to pinpoint whose legacy really inspires me, because it's each other person's legacy that have inspired others that have inspired me. I don't know. I mean this in the sense of my gran, her legacy really inspires me as a Black woman. She really has done a lot to break generational trauma and really improve her kids' life, so my mum and my uncle. And then my mum, she is a very strong Black magistrate, and she's doing so much for the community that a lot of her strength and also her grace for other Black fellas really inspires me. My aunties, like every Black woman in my life makes me want to be a stronger woman within myself, and I don't say it to them enough, but their legacies definitely do inspire me, and I hope I could be at that level one day.
I think this is going to be a common theme, but I'm really inspired by the women in my family. Specifically my mother, she is such a force to be reckoned with. She's currently the manager of the Aboriginal Centre in Devonport, Tasmania. and she has just done so much for community. She's such a caretaker of so many things, and all the knowledge I hold is the knowledge that she has handed me. And I just feel so lucky to have her, and I'm grateful to all the mothers in my family. I come from practically a straight line of women up until my ancestral grandfather, Mana Lagena. Down from there, it's just women. And I'm just grateful for all the work that they have done, though they shouldn't have had to endure and persevere through the circumstances that they did, and now I'm here and I get the privilege to study and I get the privilege to rest as well. And I do that for them.
I can't think of anyone in particular that inspires me so much was my legacy. I'd more say just mob in general and all the staff and students here at the centre. They really inspire me every day to connect with country and culture, and also be proud of being a First Nations person as well, and taking up space and being more comfortable in the world as well.
One of the reasons I'm connected to the community, but I say not as much as others, is because of my mother. She's a very big presence in my life, as I'm sure everyone's mum is. And she's done quite a lot. Every Australia Day, she's down at the Invasion Day rally, marching along. She's based her entire academic career on Indigenous data sovereignty and sociology issues, always trying to reframe it from a victim to more holistic, which can be a real problem. It's victim mentality and treating Indigenous folk as victims it's not healthy. So she's really inspired me, but it's also why I'm not doing sociology. My brother did sociology and he was hiding at the back of her classes at the university, trying not to get asked questions. So one of the reasons I went to a different field.
If I needed to declare a few of them, which I will, the Ngarara Willim Centre is definitely one of them. They provided me opportunities that I thought was never really possible for me. I mean, hell, I've been out to international trips twice because of their input. Furthermore, I met incredible people over here. I also had incredible opportunities. I met incredible tutors, you know. I mean, what more could you possibly expect to have? I mean, even personal and culture growth. Because, I mean, still, I'm learning about my Aboriginal history today, which is just incredible to me because my history is complex, to put it lightly that way. And I guess another group of people in my life that involve with my legacy is my family, you know. My family has been my rock for years, you know. To touch on this very lightly, without them helping me since I was born, I wouldn't be here. So generally, it's very important to me, those people. And more importantly, my friends as well. They helped me get through some of the bits and pieces that I thought was more difficult than it ended up being, you know. And overall, I guess the rest of the people that I met too, e.g. my support system and the people who come and gone in my life.
What does building a legacy mean to you in the context of being a student and also a future leader?
It's such like a interesting thing because right now in university, sometimes it's really hard to vision yourself as that future person. Right now, my legacy in uni is definitely with my leadership roles, so with RUSU and also with other committees I'm in. I want my legacy to be that I really helped the community here. Like, at the end of the day, I'm really here to represent the other Indigenous students, and also I really want to create a pathway where Indigenous students do feel a lot safer in universities, because I know there is still such culturally unsafe practices going on in universities, and I hope one day that that is something that can be changed and that Indigenous students can feel like they can be in their classes and feel very comfortable in that. But my legacy for the future, like with work, I just really want to stick to my morals and make sure that everything I do is for community, everything I do is for the next generation of Black kids, and everything I do is for the better of them. Like, especially with everything with global warmings and all that stuff, I want to make sure that our future generation has a country where they can see themselves and sit with that, for sure.
I think it's leaving in my wake, removing all of the circumstances that I had to endure in this space and making sure nobody else has to endure that, making sure that I leave the space more aware of Indigenous presence and Indigenous stories. And it's an extra labor, but it is unfortunately necessary because ignorance is just so pervasive. Ignorance about Indigenous culture is so pervasive. And it's just led to me even hearing a lot of ignorant things, and nobody in the space, including educators, being aware enough to correct people.
Generally, how I want my legacy to be, both personally and becoming an emerging leader in the future, is, I guess, someone who shows that they're not only educated in the things that they know, but also show a sense of identity, a sense of growth. Because at the end of the day, there's still very much that I'm learning today. Like, I'm not perfect by any means of the imagination. And I met so many incredible people who passed down such wise wisdom to me that I just can never really be able to forget it. The likes of Renee Stevens, Auntie Caroline Briggs, many others that came before me. And they provided me such good advice, such good skills overall. It's just, honestly, at the end of the day, I just want to be known for me, which is, to be known as that figure that people can go to have a chat with, to be a friend with, and wherever else that line crosses long term.
Building a legacy in the context of being a student for me is all about leaving RUSU and RMIT better than we found it. So allowing Indigenous students to feel advocated for, supported and represented by RUSU and by the uni as well. And in the future, I hope as well to be just proud of my culture, be a proud Kamilaroi woman, just connect with people and really get a conversation started.
To me, a legacy is about people who doing things that haven't been done much before. Like, if you talk about front-runner Indigenous chemists, I can't name any. I'm sure they exist. I haven't done any deep diving, but they're not prominent. They're not, this person, they happen to be Indigenous. They're also a prominent chemist in the field. So I feel leaving a legacy is leaving the door open for those who want to follow that path as well. So that's how I think of leaving legacy.